Before we go into my kitchen to go over the tutorial on the interaction and the way that you should play the no love simulation, I wanted to get into the psychology and the experience aspect of the no love simulation to get you more acclimated with how you should approach it. First and foremost, notice I'm calling it a simulation, not a game. It definitely looks like a board game. So when you interact with it, initially you are going to attempt to force it to be a board game. I'll go more into that in a moment. But conceptually, this is a relationship flight simulator. So let's think about a flight simulator. You know how pilots don't have to learn how to fly by crashing real planes? Well, now couples or people don't have to learn how to make relationships soar by crashing into real divorces. So this is what the experience is going to be like. The simulation is meant as a story to go through, not a game to strategize upon to win. So again, you're going to get caught up in trying to win, which is actually a simulation of life in itself, meaning typically if you're consistently dating or having to always go back to single in real life, yet you see your friends getting into relationships or getting married and you are consistently a bridesmaid or a groomsman, you might start to settle for the people that you're dating or in a relationship, trying to move it along so that you can match what you're experiencing with your friends, so that you can fit in or win, so to speak. But are you really winning? And that's what the simulation actually exposes when you start getting frustrated in the simulation because you keep going back to single, yet you'll get a card that gives you a choice. And every time the actual simulation gives you a choice to advance, it's literally set up to see if you have moved to a place of tolerance to where you're going to tolerate something just so that you can feel like you're moving along or advancing, which is not good in real life and definitely not good in a simulation. But I'd rather you do it and learn from the failure of doing so in the simulation so that you can stop or avoid doing it in real life. So the actual simulation, you don't have any control over the experiences. The cards or the landing spaces are going to determine your fate. So you will feel like you're losing control. Again, the more you feel that way, the more that's telling you that you're trying to win something. You can't necessarily win at this simulation. You can surrender yourself to the narrative so that you can gain experience from the simulation, but to strategize and win, especially when the actual person that you would be strategizing against is really yourself. What you'll find is you'll be able to strategize when you leave the simulation in real life so that you can avoid having the experiences that you have in a simulation in real life, but you cannot strategically plan and win at this simulation because it's not a game. It's a simulation. Again, surrender yourself to the actual narrative to have the best experience. When you're reading the cards or the landing space, if that card makes you feel uncomfortable, be mindful that that's actually the core of you saying that that's really your issue. So really focus in on what the solution or the actual core or rooted issue of that actual scenario is, and get the experience or the gem that will help you change your way of thinking when it comes to that aspect of your approach to relationships or love. I'm actually going to read some of the cards so that we can better understand what it is that you're going to experience, especially because some people have purchased their simulation and they're scared to play it because they think, oh my gosh, this is going to expose me. I'm going to answer something wrong. And there's no answers at all. It's literally you going through a story, experiencing a story, kind of like life gives you a set of cards and you have to just deal with what you got. In this case, you'll be given a story that you're experiencing in, and you do have control in the sense that you can pay for counseling to avoid being divorced or going back to single in a relationship if you have acquired the funds to do so. You'll see more of that in the actual tutorial. But when the cards are read, it's just sharing the narrative of the story and giving you a takeaway as to how or what happened and how to resolve it or how it's going to resolve itself and why. Right now, I'm going to read from a few cards, several cards from the dating scenario. So, first card says, you act differently than who you really are to win the hearts of the people you're dating. Back to single. Acting differently to win someone over is a sign of low self esteem and feeling that the way that you are isn't good enough for someone to like you. Work on your self esteem before you begin working on being with someone else. That's a dating card. Another dating card. So I'm reading four of these. It says, you've been investing a lot of time on your inward appearance, your character, morals, personality, and spirit, so much so that your investments have enhanced your outward appearance and made you a total package. Your newfound attributes now repel losers and attract the type of people you are looking for, which is how you landed a quality mate. Advance to relationship. This one actually has a actual star on it, and you'll learn more about that in the tutorial. Here's another one. This is one of those where you have to make a decision. Remember how I talked about that earlier? It says the person you are dating treats you well in private, but if you want to do anything with him or her in public, he or she changes the subject or something comes up that changes any plans made for you two to be together in public. You can continue pursuing this relationship or save yourself and go back to single. Then we have another and last dating card that I'm going to read. It says, you keep struggling to experience love because you still think that sex is love. Back to single and lose a turn. You can't scratch an emotional itch with a physical scratcher. Another dating card. Let's move into relationship cards. I'm going to read a few of these, or several rather. It says, you keep starting relationships with people based on the person's potential, resulting in messy breakups when the person doesn't meet your expectations in a timely manner. Back to single. Choose a person because of who the person is, not who you hope he or she might become in the future. When people show you who they are, believe them. That's one of the relationship cards. Here's another one. It says, you can't receive genuine, unconditional love, forgiveness, and kindness because you don't forgive, aren't genuinely kind, and won't love unconditionally. Lose a turn. Practice giving what you want to receive in order to help you believe that someone else can give it to you. It's hard to believe that someone can give you what you yourself won't give because you won't believe that it's possible for another human being to do it. This in turn blocks your ability to be receptive to the unconditional love, forgiveness, and kindness that someone else is trying to give to you, even when it's genuine. That's another card. Here's one. It says, you bring the topic of marriage to the table, and your mate brings up the fact that you frequently need assistance with your utility bills and can't keep your cell phone on, yet you always have the latest expensive shoes and apparel. Lose a turn. Work on your spending habits and priorities. Here's another one. You are treating your mate wonderfully, but the way you mistreat or disregard his or her child from their previous relationship has caused him or her to leave you. Back to single. This person rightfully chose his or her child over you. Realize that they are a package deal and you must love both of them to have and enjoy a successful romantic relationship with one of them. Here's another one. Your lack of judgment and ability to make your mate feel comfortable about his or her secrets, views, thoughts, feelings, past, etc., is why your mate tells you everything and likes being around you. Advance to marriage. And here's the last one from relationship. It says, you keep taking advice about what you should do in your relationship from people who aren't in a relationship or are far from where you would want to be in a relationship. Because of this, you keep ending up like them, single or in a bad relationship. back to single. Make sure that if you're getting counsel from someone, that the person has what you aspire to have. And even then, make your own relationship decisions because you are the one that has to live with the results. That's the relationship cards that I chose to share here. And here are some from the marriage deck. One, it says, you tell your spouse things like, it's not that I don't trust you, I just don't trust other men or women because I know how they are. Lose a turn. This is a critical sign that you need to assess your marriage and figure out why you don't trust your spouse. It doesn't matter how they are if you really trust your spouse. Here's another one. It says, you notice that the things you used to love and want to do for your spouse are now done out of obligation, not because you want or love to do them anymore. Lose a turn. This is that critical moment when you need to assess your marriage and figure out what caused it to go from a life that you were happy to pursue to an obligatory job that you don't really want to do, but must do. Listen to that card. And here's another one. It says, you refuse to give your spouse's passionate interest a chance when he or she asks you to share in it with him or her. Your lack of interest in what he or she loves has caused your spouse to be distant toward you. Maybe because he or she found someone else to share in it with. Lose two turns. At minimum, being knowledgeable enough about your spouse's passionate interest to have an intellectual dialogue or even a debate about it will add time and health to your marriage. Here's another marriage card. When you and your spouse have a disagreement, you don't try to understand or consider your spouse's point of view when he or she is speaking. You just interject with the mindset that you're right, the other person is wrong, and your way is the way that it should be. Lose a turn. It's only a matter of time before your spouse is going to shut down, cheat on you with someone who hears them out, or leave you. A dictatorship never lasts. Before it's too late, begin to listen with the intent of understanding your spouse to help your responses to his or her viewpoint more empathetic. You might begin to adopt his or her perspective on a lot of things. And here's the last one I'm going to read. It says, your lack of drive and desire to evolve has resulted in your spouse's conclusion that you are predictable and no longer desirable. Your spouse's conclusion has reduced your sex life to once in a blue moon. Lose a turn. Evolving, also known as self-improving, is a must because it makes you a better you, not to mention it keeps you interesting and attractive and works wonders for your sex life. So that is to give you a taste of what kind of cards you will be experiencing in the simulation, which has nothing to do with you answering any questions or giving a wrong answer that's going to make your spouse upset. It will, if this is you, kind of be your voice. Let's think about that. What if this is something that you wanted to express, but you get attacked if you said it? Now this gives the actual simulation the opportunity to be your voice, but also be mindful that that gives the opportunity for your mate to have a voice if you read the card that's actually you. Own it, learn from it. As you can see, it will help you to do so and move on. Now, to conclude this, when you're playing in the simulation, I've seen people win in 7 minutes. I've seen people win in 15 minutes. It typically takes an hour to actually win the simulation, but you might not even win, meaning someone landed on the no love winning space in an hour. If that happens, just stop. It's a simulation. It's not meant for you to just win. The winning is actually learning so that you can evolve in your thought process and actually win in real life. So go ahead and have the experience, reflect on what it is that you consume, and then get some more flight hours later. That's how you use the actual simulation. So if you all have an hour that has passed, if you want to keep going, that's fine. Who am I to tell you to stop? Just keep going. And as you can see, you can literally just read the actual cards or read the landing spaces, and you'll still get quality information and transformative power by experiencing it the way that you just dissect through the words that are in the simulation and in the cards. And again, as you can see, it's not a board game, which is why the price is what it is. It's not a board game price because it's not a board game. And that's all I got. Let's head to the kitchen so that you can see how to actually play the actual simulation. All right. I appreciate your mind and time. See you in the kitchen.